The bye week is wrapping up for Sun Devils football, and these are the things that we hope they worked on in their time off.
You are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day, and thanks to each and every single one of you for making us your first listen of the day. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications wherever you're getting your shows. You can stay in touch by following me on Twitter at RichieBrads36 and the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet and you'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into another edition of the podcast. Today, we are taking a look at what we hope the Sun Devils addressed during their bye week. One of two bye weeks this year for the Sun Devils. As Cameron Scadaboo put it perfectly, you have 3 seasons this year because it's broken up into 4 games, bye week, 4 games, bye week, and then the last 4 games of the year. It's perfect. You couldn't have divvied it up any better if you tried. Through the first 4 games, ASU is 3-1. They have proven that they know how to win games. They've proven that they are far ahead of where they were a year ago, which is something we talked about yesterday in terms of everything we've learned about this team. So if you have not checked out that episode, go ahead and check it out and get up to date with everything that we've learned about the Sun Devils team so far. 3-1, not bad. Could they be 4-0? Sure. They could also be 1-3. So there's been good with the bad. That just means that you have stuff to work on. With a bye week, it gives you time to reflect. It gives you time to take a look at the strengths of your team and the weaknesses of your team. And of course, it gives you a chance to get healthy. But spoiler alert, we're not going to waste time talking about getting healthy because that's the case every week. It's not just a bye week. You're trying to get healthy for every single matchup that you have. So yeah, during the bye week, there's a lot of stuff that we were looking forward to. Hopefully getting healthy was one of them. We're not going to waste our time talking about it. What we are going to talk about, though, are these 3 things that I hope they addressed in the bye week. First of all, we need to continue to work on gap integrity. Now, ASU football has done a really good job this year running the ball. That is most evident by the success that Cameron Scadaboo has seen. He has already toted the ball 86 times this year, turned it into 433 yards and 5 touchdowns, a rock-solid 5 yards per carry for the Sun Devils. He also has a 262-yard performance in that mix. He's been a stud. And they have had success from other guys. The 2 games that DeCarlos Brooks was healthy for, he had 14 carries for 71 yards. Sam Levitt has obviously become a really good dual threat for the team. Kyson Brown has been solid. Jason Brown, when we saw him in week 1, looked good. They have the ability to run the football, no problem. The question that I have, and we've seen this over the last 2.5 games, when teams begin to stack the line of scrimmage to take away the run game, which is the strength of the Sun Devils offense, it feels like the offensive line just gets overmatched. And what a concept, right? 7 guys against 5 guys. Who would have thought that the 7 guys are probably going to be better? That's not the point. The point is this Sun Devils offensive line needs to find a way to win their matchups one-on-one. Because even when it is 5-on-5 or 5-on-4, whatever it might be, whatever the defense is throwing at them, more often than not, it feels like the play could be better. And this is a very talented group, too. I feel like this offensive line could easily be one of the biggest strengths of the team. Going into the year, it felt like the offensive line was one of the biggest strengths of the team. I would say that they're underachieving right now. I think they can be 10 times better than what they're putting together. And this is something that I really hope they address during the bye week, because I want them to sit down and look at the tape and see where assignments are getting blown, where they can be doing something better. All that good stuff is what I hope that they addressed during the bye week, specifically with the offensive line. Now, this goes for the defensive line as well when it comes to gap integrity. ASU has done a pretty gosh darn good job this year of being a dynamite run defense team. There's really not been anyone who has had major success against ASU besides this past week against, of course, now I can't remember his name, the Texas Tech running back. I'll have to be looking it up as we talk. Taj Brooks, there it is. Besides Taj Brooks, and even then, Taj Brooks got almost 30 carries to be able to eclipse 100 yards in the game. ASU's run defense has been great. Now you need to make sure that you continue to fit those holes, especially because the defensive interior has been beat up quite a bit. CJ Fight has been able to stay healthy, but Jeff Clark, Zach Swanson, and oh my goodness, Jeff Clark, Zach Swanson, and Jacob Rich-Kongaika have been banged up this year. And that's pretty crazy. That's your two deep. And they've all been banged up at some point in time. This means that you are going to need the guys behind them to be able to step up. This also means that you're going to need some of the edge rushers to be able to play the run better. Now, I feel like the interior of the defensive line has done more than its fair share of run defense. And they have forced the running backs to go outside to the perimeter. This is where you've had guys like Shamari Simmons playing in the nickel and your linebackers, Zyrus Fiaseu and Keyshawn Elliott and everybody else able to go sideline to sideline to be able to limit what a running back is able to get out of them. It's phenomenal. I want to see the edge rushers become even more involved in setting the edge against the run. Prince Dorbah is back now, and he played against Texas Tech, and now he's had a whole week to rest. He should be 100% good to go for the rest of the year. Knock on wood, of course. If that's the case, I think that ASU's run defense just got a heck of a lot better off of the edge. Prince Dorbah is someone who is just a really good all-around edge defender who can anchor the run, who can rush the passer. He is going to give you some big-time juice in the production and the effort that you will see on the field from the run defense. That's going to be big, is having the edge rushers being able to maintain their gap integrity as well. As long as the interior of the defensive line continues to play at the level they're playing at, and part of that will be dictated based off health, but we don't predict health ever. As long as all of that is able to hold up, then ASU should be able to continue being a really good run defense. It's just a matter of looking at tape, saying this is what works, this is what doesn't work. How can we get better on the edge? How can we maintain the strength that we have on the interior? Perfect. Sounds good. So what I want to see the offensive line find some improvement going into the second third of the year, I guess would be the way to word it. I want to see the offensive line, I guess not significantly better because I don't want to be unrealistic, but I do need to see them playing at a much higher level than where they were previously. You need to take some steps forward. And it's not just the run blocking, it's also providing a clean pocket for Sam Levitt, who, as of now, in fairness to the offensive line, it really does feel like he's looking to run quite a bit, or at least he's looking to improvise. The best thing that this offensive line can do is provide him a clean pocket to help build that confidence up for him to remain in the pocket and be dialed in as a passer and not try and play hero ball too much. So hopefully the offensive line is going to be able to do that. Hopefully the offensive line will be able to handle some heavier blitzes and run defenses and stuff like that so that Cameron Scadaboo doesn't slow down, because in the last two games against Texas State, he was under 3 yards a carry, and against Texas Tech, he was under 4 yards per carry. He's barely around 3 yards per carry in the last two games, and that just can't happen. Thankfully, he scored 4 touchdowns in those two games, which has helped ASU stay in football games. But if they hold him out of the end zone, this is a big-time problem. So the offensive line definitely needs to be able to come together, identify what's working, what's not working, how to become a better blocking unit, hopefully in run blocking and pass blocking, but I'll take one over the other if it means having a significant improvement. Defensively, you're doing a really good job. Just continue to identify what's really been the strength of what you're doing and continue to improve on it. And hopefully with the return of Prince Dorba to the edge rushing room, you will continue to see the edge defenders become better and better against a run. And then with perimeter guys like Shamari Simmons and Keyshawn Elliott making everything stay in front of them, your run defense could go from great to maybe borderline elite. Cross that bridge when we get to it. The second thing that I am hoping to see from the Sun Devils coming out of their bye week, I would like to see more consistency in their passing game. We're going to break that down in just one moment. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today, we're sponsored by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and perks usually reserved for the high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn a very liberal rate of 4.5% APY on uninvested cash, receive unlimited 1% deposit bonuses, and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on an IRA account. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investment involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold, LLC. I also want to talk to you guys about our friends over at Home Field Apparel. Home Field is the place for your college football apparel. And guess what? It's not just ASU. They have over 180 schools and counting. And what they have is vintage, unique college football apparel that you can't find anywhere else. It's based out of Indianapolis. It's incredibly comfortable, officially licensed apparel. There's vintage college designs. And of course, it's made by the college football fan for the college football fan. One of my favorite items that they have are the football boxes. Those boxes are going to contain 3 never-before-seen items for your school that you can't find anywhere else. They're curated so fans have new gear to wear all season long and suitable for all weather conditions. So whether it's 110 outside or it's 50 degrees outside, you're going to have stuff thanks to our friends at Home Field. Now is the best time to get in on Home Field Apparel, and you can use my personal promo code ASU24 for 15% off your first purchase. Just go to homefieldapparel.com. Take advantage of all the great merchandise for Arizona State and other schools as well. Be prepared like nobody else with Home Field Apparel. Use my promo code ASU24 and get 15% off of your order. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you get that update whenever we post new content. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. And thanks to all of you for making us your first listen of the day. Let's go ahead and get back into our conversation now about what we want to see improved from ASU following their bye week. Number 2, consistency in the passing game. This is something that I've been preaching for a while now, pretty much not quite since the start of the season, but probably after the second week of the year, when you went from Sam Leavitt being really, really good against Wyoming to being almost a complete non-factor against Mississippi State. They have found some balance, and you've seen Sam Leavitt is over 200 passing yards in each of the last 2 games, and Sam Leavitt is effectively moving the football. Well, the problem is there's still not enough consistency in the passing game for me. First of all, and the biggest thing that you need to do is you need to figure out what you're doing with the deep ball. It's not there as of now. Through 4 games, the deep ball is not there. Sam Leavitt is connected on maybe a handful. The only one I can think of off the top of my head was Jordan Tyson's 50-yard touchdown against Texas State. Other than that, I mean, these are air balls. They're non-contestable footballs and not in any way, shape, or form available for the receivers to try and make a play on them. And that's understandable when you consider he is a redshirt freshman who is in his 4th career start at Arizona State, playing his 7th collegiate game. Totally understand. 8th collegiate game. It's understandable. We shouldn't be coming out expecting Sam Leavitt to already be an elite passer, and certainly not with the deep ball. That's something that takes time to develop. What I am getting at here is I want you to figure out what you can do with the deep ball that is effective, because the go routes right now are not there. And that's fine. I don't need you to take a shot 40, 50, 60 yards down the field. I would be totally good with a deep ball between 25 to 30 yards. I don't care if it's inside the hashes, outside. I don't care if that's a go route and you're just trying to get it out earlier. But waiting until it turns into the 50-plus yard play, right now that's not there. And it could be there by the end of the season. It could be there next week against Kansas. Like, you might have figured it out, and that would be awesome. But for now, I just need you to figure out what your deep ball is going to look like and how consistently you're going to stick with that kind of game plan. So if your deep ball is 25 to 30 yards, perfect. What's that going to look like? How much are we going to see it? Is this 1 to 2 times a game? Is it 5 to 6 times a game? Depending on the comfort of Sam Leavitt and his ability to hit that, that's going to be a very interesting point. As far as those 40, 50, 60-yard passes, are those completely gone? Or are you still going to try it once or twice a game? I would be good with once, maybe twice a game. But I don't want to see it 4 to 5 times, especially because it's just not there right now. We'll eventually get to that point. Hopefully, more than likely, get to that point. Right now, it's not there. So stop forcing it to look a certain way. The deep ball can be all sorts of different avenues for you. It doesn't need to be go routes for 50-plus yards. Find a way to incorporate a really good receiving core that's got some speed and get them opportunities to get a play down the field and then have them do something after that. You have creative receivers with Jake Smith, with Melcon Stovall, with Jordan Tyson, who are able to create after the catch. You need to put them in an opportunity, however, to create after the catch. And right now, it does not feel like ASU is doing that consistently enough and successfully enough for these guys to reach their full potential. You just need to find that consistency with the deep ball. The other thing that I want to see is I want to figure out what Sam Leavitt's comfort zone is. Week 1 against Wyoming, he was dealing. And where they saw the most success was attacking the middle of the field against the zone for 15-yard completions, 20-yard completions. It was just that intermediate part of the field and attacking the middle. And it felt like that was Sam Leavitt's perfect, like, zen kind of area. He looked completely confident, completely comfortable with being able to throw to that part of the field. I feel like we haven't consistently seen that. And sure, you're facing different defenses. Not every defense is going to give you those same opportunities, but you also need to be able to create those opportunities. And this is kind of a challenge to the play calling as well, is you know what Sam Leavitt's strengths are, find a way to incorporate those strengths. And if that's throwing the ball to the middle of the field inside the hashes, 10 to 20 yards, then you need to find a way to incorporate that. Just because the defense is playing a certain way doesn't mean you need to completely eliminate the strength of your quarterback. You just need to find a way to improvise and get those chances. Find a way to get Sam Leavitt comfortable. The best offense for ASU that we have seen is when Sam Leavitt is in a rhythm and he's got that confidence, he's got that swagger. And this is also a quarterback that's not easily shaken. It's not like Sam Leavitt's going to throw a couple incomplete passes and then he's just going to be down in the dumps and not able to adjust. Quite the contrary. Sam Leavitt is someone that can throw 4 or 5 incomplete passes and just be able to shrug it off and get ready for the next play. Perfect. You've got him where you need to be from a mental standpoint. Now, let's get him into a situation where he's going to consistently succeed. So maybe that is attacking the middle of the field, or who knows, maybe in the bye week they found something else that he is more comfortable with. Whatever it is, just find a way to get him in the best way to succeed. And I think personally, it's going to be finding a way to attack the middle of the field. And I like the idea of lots of yards after catch. I don't like it at the line of scrimmage though. I appreciate the quick passing and stuff like that. That shouldn't be the go-to for this team. Even for a young quarterback, I don't want you to consistently be attacking through the air at or near the line of scrimmage. Got to be able to push the ball down the field. Levitt is more than capable of doing that. This offense is going to be operating at a much higher level when they are able to do that consistently. One last area that I want to see ASU has really done a good job of moving forward and improving during the bye week. I want to see that they're able to create a full game plan. We're going to talk about that more in just one moment. This is the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hey there, NFL fans. You can start this season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. When you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats. You can check out a live play-by-play and more, all in the same place where you place your bets. And that way you're confident and comfortable with making those bets. You can also get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet on anything from football to basketball to baseball and more. Just go to FanDuel.com to get started for yourself, America's #1 sportsbook. One last time, wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you get that update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day. A special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. Let's wrap up this conversation. The last thing I want to see ASU has taken the time to improve on during the bye week. I want to see that they have found a way to create full game plans. Let me explain. ASU has done a phenomenal job this year of finding ways to go punch for punch, blow for blow, swing for swing with their opponents. This was very evident against Texas State. They were down 21-7 at one point. They win that game 31-28. And it was because ASU, even when they were down, found ways to get back into the game. Defensively, they found ways to step up. Offensively, they made plays when they needed to. Texas Tech, it wasn't quite there on offense, but the defense made adjustments. They were down very quickly, 14-0 in the first quarter. They only gave up 3 more points in the first half after that. Those are the first 2 drives, by the way, that Texas Tech was up 14-0. Then until halftime, they only gave up 3 points. I have no doubt, and I have no questions whatsoever of ASU's ability to make adjustments, not just at halftime, but on the go. Brian Ward, to be able to flip the script as quickly as he did on defense, is phenomenal. And we've seen Marcus Arroyo be able to make adjustments as well. This was evident in the Mississippi State game. They were really run heavy and got Sam Levitt out of a rhythm. When they tried to get Levitt back involved, it didn't work. So Arroyo was able to pivot back to what was working and make sure that the offense, even when it was going through its ups and downs, was still able to get conversions when they needed to and get points when they needed to. These 2 coordinators can make those kind of pivots. And Kenny Dillingham is equally capable of making those pivots as a head coach. They can do the adjustments. They can keep up with their opponents, offensively, defensively, coaching-wise. It's a good team. My question and what I want to see, can you force opponents to play catch-up? Can you force your opponents to make adjustments to you? Mississippi State had to do this, and that was a very impressive win for ASU. They forced Mississippi State to take the game plan they had in the first half and the first about 45 minutes of game time, throw it out the window and say, this isn't working, we need to do this. And they changed it and they found success and they made it a game. Outside of that, it doesn't feel like ASU has forced teams to adjust what they're doing. Wyoming, they could have, but nothing worked for them. Texas State, I don't think that Texas State ever felt that they needed to adjust what they were doing. And to that extent, I think that's why they lost the football game, is while ASU was making their adjustments, Texas State wasn't. Texas Tech, I think they just came out with a better game plan, just flat out, offensively, defensively. I think Texas Tech was far more prepared for that game than ASU was. ASU needs to find a way moving forward to outcoach their opponents. And they're capable of it. You've got two great coordinators, and you've got a young, brilliant head coach. This is something that ASU is entirely capable of. It's just a matter of actually getting to that point where you can execute it. Can you force your opponents to play catch up? That's my biggest question. ASU can play catch up. We saw it against Texas State. They were down 21-7. They won that football game against Texas Tech. Unfortunately, they were never able to take the lead, but you were down 14-0 at one point in time early in the game, and you were able to come back at halftime and make it a one-possession game. ASU found a way to hang around with Texas Tech. At no point in that Texas Tech game were you sitting there and you were like, yeah, this is a beatdown. ASU doesn't have a chance. There was plenty of doubt that ASU could win the game, but at no point were you sitting there doubting that Kenny Dillingham could get this squad to rebound and get back into the game. So they can do that. No questions. Can they get their opponents to do that? When you play Kansas next week, can you get Kansas at halftime? Let's say you're up 14-0. Can you get Kansas to say, this isn't working, we need to make an adjustment, the way that you did against Mississippi State? Because Mississippi State did that, and that's a huge confidence builder for this team, is you are telling the opponent, hey, what you're doing, it's not working. Better find a solution. Find a solution. Then they did, and you got to test. This is a team that's been tested. I want to see that you're not always going to have to be the team that makes adjustments. I want ASU to be the team that forces their opponents to make adjustments. And guess what? You got a really difficult schedule the rest of the year. You have 4 more ranked teams. You have some very difficult road games. Your home games are not exactly easy either. There is a lot of challenges coming up for ASU. They cannot consistently be trailing in football games and have to find ways to make adjustments mid-game, at halftime, or otherwise. They need to be leading in multiple games, or else you're going to have some serious confidence issues with this team. Those are the 3 things that I hope ASU worked on during the bye week. I want to see more gap integrity and improvement from the offensive line and the defensive line. I want to see some consistency established in the passing game and find a way to get Sam Leavitt as comfortable as possible. And then, of course, I want to see the ASU can force their opponents to game plan by having a full game plan ahead of time, not having to pivot out of it. Force your opponents to pivot out of theirs. What are you guys hoping to have seen after the bye week for Arizona State? Let me know in the comments. You can hit me up on Twitter as well at Richie Bradshaw36, the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Wherever you're getting your shows, hit like, hit subscribe, turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. I appreciate each and every single one of you for tuning in and making us your first listen of the day, and a special shout out to my everydayers who are here every day. We are on a bye week. That means there is no game day preview tomorrow. But don't worry, I'm not leaving you out to dry. Nope. We will have a bonus episode tomorrow, not a full-length episode, but I will be breaking down the games that you should be paying attention to while the Sun Devils have the weekend off. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Until then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.